interesting today, my brothers and sisters. When I look over the church today, I see a number of people that just in recent times have lost someone in their family. The DeMary family is here every year because they come every year to remember their husband, their father, Joseph. And I see, the family of Rosa here. They're here today, I'm sure, remembering in a very special way their mother and grandmother. When you look over the church, I see, Sal lost his mother this year. Other people in the church, we have the masses often. And when you look over the church today, you remember your deceased loved ones. And it's very interesting how we always do this. We remember the people that we love that have died. You notice over here in the front of the church is the Paschal candle, the Easter candle. And if you look at this book, what is this book called? The Death Register. In here are the last 5 years of funerals we've had. And we put this book out because November is the month of remembering and praying in a very special way for the dead. And many times when I say a funeral or I go to a wake, I often tell people to either read the book, Heaven is for Real, or if you're not a good reader, a lot of people don't like to read, right? So for the young people, go on HBO On Demand. I get a commission for this. You go on HBO On Demand and you look for Heaven is for Real and watch the movie. It's a real good insight into what? Heaven. Because when you look at a death register and you read names in the death register, you can get a little upset. And the thing is to know heaven is for real. And that movie, that book, talks about a 3-year-old that had some experience of being in heaven. And they don't call it one of those death experiences, dying and coming back. This kid had some experience of being in heaven at 3 years old or so. And all the things, when we were kids, the nuns said to us in religion or in CCD, they said to us, when you go to heaven, you're going to have the best shape you ever had. I can't wait to go back because I figure I'll get rid of the belly. I'll be in good shape in heaven. I'm going to, drive around heaven. The nuns told us, if you were really good, those were the days before Mercedes. Now this is in the 50s, before a Mercedes or a BMW. If you were really good, you know what God gave you to drive around in heaven? A golden Cadillac. I'll never forget that. So all those things, people that, that died are all there. This kid tells all these little insights into heaven. And my brothers and sisters, it's a good thing for us to remember and to talk about what are we here for? Why are we here? Why are we here for 80, 90, 20 years? Look at that police officer. Terrible, terrible thing. Sergeant Paul Tuzzolo. You think of his family. Last Friday night, being in that hospital with his wife, his parents, her parents, relatives, his brother. What do you say? What do you say to that family? Nothing. You can't say anything. But when you get to the point, the only thing you can say is what? We'll see you one day again in heaven. Heaven is for real. And we've got to understand, you will see your Tommy. You will see your Joe. You will see Rosa. You will see your mom. You'll see those people again in heaven. My brothers and sisters, listening to the reading, that's a great reading from the book of Maccabees. Maccabees, Old Testament, thousands of years ago. What happened? What happened in the history? The Greeks took over. The Greeks took over the Jewish nation. And what were they doing? They were cleaning out the Jewish things. The temple, they put a gym up, all these things in history. They put a gym and all these things to offend the Jewish people. And what was the last thing? They made them eat pork. They don't eat pork religiously. They made them eat pork. 7 sons are there in front of their mother. Eat the pork. Eat it. No. You're going to die. Boom. All 7 sons killed. Why? Why? Because they believed. They believed in God, and they believed that if they die for their faith, they're going to heaven. The greatest proof of heaven are people that give their life for the faith. They could have ate a ham sandwich. So you say, so what? Eat the ham sandwich, right? Get it over with, right? What happened a year and a half ago? You remember February of 2015? There were 21 Christians, Coptic Christians, in Iraq, Afghanistan. ISIS caught them and arrested them all. They put them in the orange jumpsuits to be symbolic of the Muslims in Guantanamo Bay. They brought them to the same place where they dumped the body of Osama bin Laden. And they stood there. They stood there in the water, and they were told, reject Jesus. What did they do? They wouldn't. And they went down, and it was videoed very clearly, you could see it, and they chopped off the heads of those 21 people. And the last words they said as they were getting their heads chopped off, Jesus. They weren't afraid to die. Because why? They believe in God. They believe in resurrection. They believe that they're going to heaven. My brothers and sisters, catch this gospel. Oh my God, that must be Sophia Loren's life story. She married, how many times did Sophia Loren marry? 7? Wow, 7 times, no? No, I'm sorry, wrong one, I'm sorry. I got the wrong start. Get that one out. It must have been Liz Taylor. How many times did Liz Taylor marry? I was just making sure you're awake. How many times did Liz Taylor marry? How many? Now, in the gospel, 6, 5? 5 times. She has 2 more times to catch up to the lady in the gospel. There's a Jewish law that if my brother dies, the next brother has to marry the wife. Went down the line, 7. She knocked them all off. Can you imagine? Right? So now the gospel talks about heaven. And in heaven, you don't have to worry. Who's your wife? Who's your husband? No worry there. Don't worry about it because we're all going to be alive, and it really doesn't matter who's your husband or who's your wife. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? And we're going to be like angels in heaven. The whole thing today, if you listen to the scriptures carefully, is to say that God gives us a gift. The gift of new life. The gift of resurrection. So your name recorded in this register, and one day, I hate to say this, all of our names are going to be in one of these books, and hopefully the book is the way to get to heaven. What are we all about? Why do we get up every morning, go to work, make a living? Why do we come to church on Sunday? Why do we do all these things? To do good and to get to heaven. My brothers and sisters, there's an expression. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Amen.